The gate slammed shut behind my truck. Steel groaning, sealing the only road out of my own 200-acre ranch. Denise Callahan stood by the padlock, arms crossed, smiling like she'd just won a war I never knew existed. I'm Dale Whitfield, third-generation rancher, raising cattle with my wife Susan and our 12-year-old daughter, Emma, on land my grandfather cleared himself. In 1985, my father sold 40 acres bordering our ranch to a developer, keeping one signed promise. Our exit road stayed open forever. That developer built 50 houses over the decades, calling it Whispering Pines Estates, complete with a homeowners association nobody in my family joined. For 30 years, the arrangement worked fine, until Denise Callahan got herself elected HOA president last spring, promising to clean things up. Denise walked her cul-de-sac like a queen inspecting her kingdom, clipboard in hand, hunting for mailboxes painted the wrong shade of beige. Then she noticed our ranch trucks used her subdivision road daily. Hauling feed, cattle trailers, and farm equipment past manicured lawns. This road belongs to Whispering Pines, Denise announced at a community meeting, though the county recorder's office said otherwise. She mailed me a letter demanding a $500 monthly road maintenance fee, or she'd restrict my access entirely. I laughed it off, showed Susan the letter, and figured a woman with a clipboard couldn't actually block a public easement. I was wrong, dead wrong, about how far Denise Callahan would go to prove she ran that road. Not me. The following week, Denise installed a keypad gate at the entrance, claiming security concerns after a supposed break-in nobody else witnessed. She handed out codes to every HOA resident except us, smiling sweetly while my cattle trailer idled outside, blocked from feeding schedule. I called the county, but the clerk said easements took weeks to verify, leaving me stranded outside my own gate for hours. Susan tried reasoning with Denise face-to-face, only to be told, "Rules are rules, sweetheart. Maybe learn to plan your day better." Emma's school bus got rerouted after Denise complained it damaged the pavement, forcing my daughter to walk a mile through mud. Neighbors who'd known my family for decades suddenly avoided eye contact, terrified of becoming Denise's next disciplinary target. I discovered fake HOA violation notices stapled to my barn, citing rules that applied only to houses inside the subdivision, not ranches. Denise sent a tow truck for my feed trailer, parked legally on the shoulder, costing me $300 and a wasted morning. My vet couldn't reach a sick calf because the gate code malfunctioned, right when his truck arrived. Denise nowhere to be found. I hired a lawyer, who confirmed my easement was real, recorded in 1985, ironclad, yet enforcing it meant months of costly litigation. Denise countered by rallying HOA members, framing me as the rancher trying to bully hardworking families out of their peaceful community. Online neighborhood forums filled with comments calling me greedy, entitled, threatening that farmer who dared inconvenience their morning commutes. My cattle went 2 days without feed deliveries because Denise blocked delivery trucks, citing weight restrictions she'd invented that morning. I confronted her directly at the gate, and she just shrugged, saying, "Maybe you should have thought about that before buying a ranch here." Susan started crying at the kitchen table, exhausted from fighting a woman who seemed to enjoy watching our family struggle. Emma asked me why the mean lady hated us, and I had no honest answer that wouldn't scare a 12-year-old. Then Denise raised the stakes again, hiring a private contractor to install a second locked barrier further down our shared road. Surprisingly, Denise called a truce, inviting Susan and me to a friendly dinner to iron out our little misunderstanding over wine. She apologized sweetly, blamed miscommunication, and offered a temporary gate code, insisting she only wanted peace between neighbors. For 2 weeks, life felt normal again. Cattle trucks rolled through freely, Emma's bus resumed its old route, tension finally easing. I should have known better than to trust a smile that never once reached Denise Callahan's calculating eyes. One evening, our neighbor Frank knocked, whispering that Denise had been quietly negotiating with a land developer behind closed doors. Frank, turned out, worked HOA board meetings as secretary, secretly recording everything Denise said when she thought nobody listened. According to Frank's recordings, Denise's husband worked for that same developer, eyeing my ranch for a lucrative expansion project. Cutting off my only exit would tank my property value, forcing a desperate sale, exactly what her husband's company wanted. I felt sick realizing our truce was never peace. It was Denise buying time to finalize their backroom deal. Sure enough, the temporary gate code stopped working exactly 1 month later, right as Denise's smile turned sharp again. This time, she erected a permanent concrete barrier, claiming an emergency HOA vote approved the closure unanimously overnight. Frank swore no such vote ever happened. Denise had forged signatures on the meeting minutes to make it look legitimate. I drove to the county recorder's office, pulling my father's original 1985 agreement, praying the ironclad language still protected us. The clerk found something unexpected. Denise herself had filed paperwork years ago quietly altering easement boundary lines by 11 feet. That 11-foot alteration conveniently placed her own new patio directly atop what used to be shared community access road. Denise Callahan had illegally expanded her own property line, stealing HOA land, then blamed me for road damage the whole time. I photographed everything, documents in hand, heart pounding with a mixture of fury and disbelieving. Vindicated relief. Frank agreed to testify, admitting he'd stayed silent too long, terrified of Denise's reputation for destroying anyone who crossed her. My lawyer said the forged HOA vote alone could trigger criminal charges, especially combined with the illegal boundary manipulation. Denise, sensing something shifting, doubled down publicly, calling an emergency town hall to address false rumors spreading through the neighborhood. I decided that town hall was exactly where I'd finally show Whispering Pines Estates who Denise Callahan truly was. The night before the meeting, Susan and I organized every document, deeds, recordings, forged minutes into one undeniable folder of evidence. Emma asked to come, saying she wanted to see the mean lady get what she deserves with her own eyes. Frank texted, warning Denise had somehow learned about our evidence and was scrambling to discredit us before we could speak. I barely slept, replaying months of fines, forged notices, and blocked gates, refusing to let fear silence me anymore. Our lawyer arrived early, reviewing county records once more, confirming everything was airtight, admissible, and impossible to dismiss. Neighbors filed into the community hall, murmuring nervously, sensing tonight's meeting wouldn't be Denise's usual scripted performance. Denise entered wearing her best blazer, clipboard tucked under her arm, projecting calm confidence she clearly didn't actually feel. She opened with practiced charm, calling this unfortunate drama something the community needed to move past quickly together. I stood up before she finished, holding the folder high, asking why an 11-foot boundary shift favored only her backyard. Gasps rippled through the room as I read the recorded date of her secretly filed, unauthorized property line change. Denise stammered, insisting it was a clerical error, but the county clerk's certified letter said otherwise, clear as day. Then Frank stood, revealing his hidden recordings, playing Denise's own voice admitting she'd forged the emergency vote signatures. The room erupted, neighbors turning toward Denise, faces shifting from confusion into visible, mounting outrage and disbelief. I presented my father's original 1985 easement agreement, proving legally the road had always belonged jointly to everyone, myself included. Denise tried interrupting, claiming defamation, but the HOA's own attorney, present that night, quietly confirmed every document's authenticity. Someone in the crowd shouted asking if her husband's development company had influenced her decisions. Denise's face went completely pale. The sheriff's deputy, called earlier by our lawyer, stepped forward, requesting Denise accompany him to discuss potential fraud charges. Denise's clipboard clattered to the floor as she realized every neighbor watching had finally seen through her manufactured authority. "You people don't understand what I sacrificed running this HOA," she shouted, voice cracking, no longer sounding confident at all. Nobody defended her. Even her closest allies stepped back, distancing themselves from months of documented lies and manipulation. The HOA board voted unanimously, right there, to remove Denise Callahan from her position, effective that very moment. County officials later confirmed formal fraud charges, citing forged documents, illegal boundary changes, and abuse of association authority. Watching Denise escorted out, I felt something loosen in my chest that had been tightening for 8 brutal months. Weeks later, the concrete barrier came down, our easement legally restored, permanent, and fully protected under updated county records. Denise fast fines, community service, and a lifetime ban from HOA leadership anywhere in the county. Her reputation shattered. Now our cattle trucks roll freely again. Emma rides her bus without fear, and our ranch finally feels like home.